So the Cherokee elder is talking to his grandson, and he's telling him about the two wolves that are inside every person. And the young man says, "Tell me more, Grandpa. What do you mean by that?" And he said, "Well, the two wolves, one of them is angry, often violent, full of resentment, spiritual narcissistic." I added that one. That's the new phrase. Egotistical, trouble, bullying. That's one. And the other wolf is loving and kind and joyful and reassured and filled with compassion. And the little boy says, "But Grandpa, which one wins?" And his grandpa says, "The one that you feed." The one that you feed. It's okay if you clap. The one you feed. And in that energetic presence, what we're talking about today is why people don't heal. We're addressing some of those energies, and I'm still continuing to talk about from my talk a couple of 3 weeks ago. And so that being said, when I've been reflecting upon this last week, I've been thinking about people with aging minds. And I would think that one of the things that ages us is when we repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat the same narrative of a story over and over again. We meet brand new people and tell them the same old story. We mess with our minds, we mess with our age, and we tank our liver. I'm not a medical doctor, nor am I interested in that. That's Dr. Jim's field. But what I will say is, and we have resentments. And when we resent something, it gets resent and resent and resent. So our mind is very, very powerful in what we have in it and the energy that we have. And someone was saying to me, and we were having this discussion about people that are ageless have learned that they are in charge of their minds. Their minds are not in charge of them. You agree with that? Yes. They're not in charge of them. And so you learn how to have, way back in the day, Deepak Chopra would say, you learn to have the gap. You learn to have the gap between situations. You literally get where you practice, where you say to your mind, "Let me get back with you on that." Let me take this prayer and let me get back with you on that. And you really have spaces in your mind that you're not occupied with, what am I going to do? I got to prepare myself. I need to know, what am I going to resign? I got to get I got my to-do list, blah, 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 blah. And of course, we're taught in society that when you have gaps in your mind, that it is because you're aging. It's actually because you're spiritually maturing. Hello, everybody breathe. It's because you're spiritually maturing and you're headed down the wrong road when you start getting into, well, at my age, I forget this, forget that, I forget why I got up and where I was going across the room. It's because you're lightening up and you don't need that drama that you're carrying anymore. Can you be with me on that? It's because you are shifting and you don't want to get caught into the trends of society because you'll wind up at the drugstore buying something. But a true, calm, spiritual being, would you go to one of the people in the monastery and say, "You're so quiet and you're so calm, it's because you're getting old"? Heck no. It's because they have mastered this energy and the journey of, I handpick what I want to focus on. Say that with me. I handpick what I want to focus on. It does not overwhelm me like I'm a victim of my own life. Yes? Psalms 46:10, often people say it, sometimes people shorten it, but it's be still and know that I am God. The people that don't like to work in their shadow stuff, they say be still and know I am God. But it's be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know I. Be still and know that. It's the that in your life that transforms you to believe that there is a God in the first place. Yes? The that, how many of you right now have a that you're working with that will tell the truth? Of course. We all have a that. Some we live with, not me. Some we live with. Some we have a that right now. I've got all this coming at me and all these notifications on my phone. What am I going to believe? Or am I going to be still and know that I am God, that we are emerging into something greater and more dynamic? How do we do that? With an energetic presence. Jesus said that in my house, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. In your house, there is the capacity of many mansions. That was said very clearly. But many a person lives their life in one house. And many of them can be 70, 80, and 90-year-olds and still living in the one house they grew up in because they didn't do it right. You understand what I'm saying? Mansions are the masterful energy of what is available to us, this multifaceted life. And it's so wonderful. Healthy, wealthy, creative self-expression, loving life, loving the vibe, friends, and all the levels of gratitude and all that, comes with that. It's mindful of the man that he goes to the afterlife and he is met by St. Peter. St. Peter said, I want to take you on a tour. And they come up to a warehouse. And in the warehouse, there's all these packages with ribbons. And the man said, what is that? He said, those are the gifts that we had ready for you. But you never ask, and you never welcome the new to come into your life. Yes? You never ask. Does this work for you? Because I've got a few more minutes. Okay. All right. The truth of the matter is, with healing, is 60 seconds can change your life. 60 seconds can change your life. Somebody can walk up to you and say, you are the greatest person I've ever known in my life. Bam. 60 seconds can change your life. And even if you don't believe it, you could go, somebody thinks that, let me go home and work on that. Yes? Somebody could say, you're the best father I've ever known. You might think, I've never thought that about myself. I thought I was unworthy. I thought I wasn't deserving. But you think I'm a good father. Let me learn to believe that. 60 seconds can change your life. Somebody can say, you are phenomenal. You have a great energy. I do? I know I do. I'm talking to you. I do? You see that for me? Oh my God. You see that? Wow. Somebody gets me. Say that with me. Somebody gets me. And it's evolutionary. It's evolutionary. I was thinking the other day, flashback, I was so afraid to speak. I was in ministerial school, and I would tell the teacher, don't call on me. Literally terrified. I would just sweat. My mother gave me a half a nerve pill one time. I don't remember what I said, but they said I did a good job. Terrified. I think about some of the chaplains say, I don't feel comfortable wearing my stole. Well, welcome to the uncomfortable club. Standing up for God sometimes is uncomfortable. Standing for yourself sometimes is uncomfortable. Yes, clap, because you're clapping for yourself. Proving that you don't have to get old is uncomfortable. When people are trying to tell you, oh, I understand you're this many years now. Proud of it. Just the beginning. Tripling our life expectancy. Who wants to get on board? People made fun of Charles Fillmore. Well, he was determined he wasn't going to die. Well, at least he was trying to do something different. Let's not knock somebody that wants to be original when we say we're a teaching that teaches you to be original. Hello? Duh. 60 seconds can transform your life. And the lesson is, by the time some of us have moved along in life, we have bought into this idea that life is supposed to be complicated, or circumstances that we walk through are supposed to be complicated. So when we have something happen, we often just approach it on the surface level. Oh, how you doing? Oh, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm into my feelings. I feel better. But we never dig deep into why we felt that way in the first place. We never dig deeper into, is this a habitual pattern? We never dig into, wow, is there another mansion here that's wanting to reveal itself? I'm teaching you what I know works for me. And last Sunday, I was all set to come here. I was all excited about chaplain prayer training. I was all excited to see all of you wonderful people. I'm not being facetious. I was so excited. And I got the message that I needed to do a deep dive. I needed to do a deep dive. I needed to go deep into the dwelling place of the that I am and experience and witness the joy and the energy of life. I'd been toting my mom on my shoulder since she died on January the 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and here I am celebrating my birthday without her, and I was just on the surface level of having my mind operate over me. You know what I'm saying? And when you get that way and you want to talk to somebody about it, then they immediately start coaching you. It is so annoying. It is so annoying because we know within ourselves, be still and know that I am God. We know what we know, but we got to do the work. We can't shortchange the work. You've got to go into the deeper part of what is this that's stirring me? What is this? So on the other side of it, we have more energy than we started with. Can't you tell I have more energy than I have in a while? Are you with me? But it's because I believe in the that. And it's about the spiritual walk of walking through the that, so you will almost be rewarded to be younger. I don't go around and say, I'm going to be older next time you see me. I say, honey, I'm going to be younger next time you see me. So you learn to shift your whole life in that consciousness and that power. And so we're willing to do the work. And that's why we come here, to remind ourselves to do the work. This is so important. I didn't want to extemporaneously share this with you. If you're okay, I'm going to read at you. Are you okay with that? Yes. All right. How many of you know Sai Baba? Okay, good. We have a learned group. You can Google Sai Baba. Was a master in India. They have that. They use that word freely. Master in India. And Sai Baba, people would come from all over the world. They didn't have phones then. They didn't have Google. They didn't have meetup groups. Millions of people would line to see Sai Baba. Millions. Millions. Not we're trying to fill the chairs with 150 seats. Millions. Who he was, a miracle worker. There's lots of books about him. But one of the things he would do is he would open his palm and vibhuti would come out of his palm. A healing power, ash, which is very typical to India. But he would do this and he would give it to the people and they would rub it and they would rub it on their ailments. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? They would be healed. He could go up to somebody that had throat cancer or something and do this and pull out all this stuff out of their body. And he could, if they said, you know, I lost this, he would do their hands and gold would come out of their hands. This is all documented. I knew people that were with him. This is not made up stuff and it's not fixed Hollywood. It's true. But Carolyn Myss in Why People Don't Heal, she said that Sai Baba, the first time I called on Sai Baba was more than many years ago during a health scare I had when I was in northern Scotland. You have to understand that I'm in the middle of nowhere and nobody but my friends know I'm there. I said, Baba, I don't even know why I'm praying to you. I don't even know if I believe in you, but if you're there and you're listening, I think I want some of that stuff, that vibhuti stuff. Now, I've never asked for that in my life. Holy water, yeah. Holy oil, of course. But never this ash. So the next day, the very next day, this little tube the size of a 35 millimeter film canister arrives filled with vibhuti with a note that reads, to Carolyn Myss from Sai Baba. This was within 12 hours of my prayer. And I'm up where Christ lost his shoe in the Highlands of Scotland. The package had come via someone I had met many years earlier who had come to 3 of my lectures in Copenhagen. I didn't even know this man. Do you know how many thousands of people I meet, she says. Do you think I would give this man my address, much less my social schedule? plus call him up and tell him I'm going to see a few friends in northern Scotland in case he received some kind of ridiculous package from me. That's why getting this package impressed me so much. I mean, if I had gotten a call from a very close friend who said, hey, I just got you some vibhuti, that would have looked different. But this was so impressive. And where did he mail it? To where I was visiting friends in a remote part of Scotland. A stalker couldn't have done a better job. From that point on, Baba had my attention. And I started to experience connections with him on a regular basis. For example, when my older brother, Joe, was critically ill, and my younger brother, Eddie, was dealing with some very stressful circumstances, my mother said to me, can't you do something? Can't you write Sai Baba and tell him what our needs are? She said, right. I don't know his address. What do you want me to do? Address an envelope and say, Sai Baba, attention, India? I woke up the next morning to find that his address had been faxed to me from somebody in Australia. Whoa. Wow, right? Am I asking you to worship Sai Baba? No, I'm asking you to adore the mansion within your own consciousness. That these miracles happen, and our task is to continue to stretch our minds. If you find that you have the same situation and it's been 90 days, it's on you, not the situation. If you find you're still going through some kind of walk, it's time for you to deep dive and say, why am I still entertaining this idea in my life? Let's practice. Why am I still entertaining this in my life? Because it's transformative. If she can talk to somebody she doesn't even believe in and get a package within 12 hours in a foreign country when very few people knew she was there, addressed from Sai Baba, we can go to the divine that we practice, the Holy Spirit of the Lord and the law, and we can request those miracles as well, can we not? The other reason that people do not heal, and I may have told this before, but it always tickles me when I would be walking my little dogs in the neighborhood, and I mean, they are little, okay? I don't think too many people would be too frightened by them. And a huge dog, would come towards us, and I'm counting on them to be here for me, you know what I mean? You know what they do? They turn on each other. They start growling and barking at each other. I think they're telling each other to calm down, but they go at it. I'm like, this is not the way this is supposed to happen. You're supposed to be guard dogs that protect your mom when some big old dog is coming our way, and they just go, and we laugh about that, but that's what we do. We turn on ourselves. We turn on ourselves. When I was 29 years old, I had one of the worst cases of TMJ they said they had ever seen at the University of Miami. And I went on, short story, major jaw surgery, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it that I would be going through this. And I couldn't believe that my mouth was wired together for 7 weeks. I'm sure you can't either. I hear you. I know what some of you are thinking. That's not very nice. But anyway, especially that one. 7 weeks, I was in ministerial school with my mouth wired together. And I learned to talk like that and do my talk and all that, you know? Maybe I could have been a ventriloquist. But anyway, but I fought it. I turned on myself. I fought it. I did not know be still and know that I am God, that I would discover more of God when I dealt with that. And I was like, why did this happen to me? And and I have this, and I can't believe it, and it's so painful, and I'm this big around. And I'm like fighting it, until one day that aha moment came. And I heard very clearly, this is for you. It's for you. I had been wired together in my own understanding. I had been shy about speaking out for what I feel is true. I had been imprisoned by the ability, I had been imprisoned because I was into people pleasing and making sure people liked me. Do you know how exhausting that is when you're talking to a group of people and you want everybody to like you? Not only is it dysfunctional, it's impossible. Your job in serving life isn't to have everybody like you, because if they do, that means you're not doing a good job. That's not the guide. It's to speak the truth, speak it boldly, and those who will receive it. Those who don't. So I began to see all the mansions of why I needed that experience, the how of needing that experience. And then it all shifted. And so in your own life, as Reverend Kathy would say, your assignment this week is to look at that in your life. Do you see it as your sacred friend? Because until you do, you will continue to have it. Or you will replace it from something thinking it's different, and then you will still have it. So what is that in that healing? And finally, one of the things we buy into is, oh, you know, it's going to be okay for you. You deserve it. Deserve it? Oh, something great's going to happen to you. You're worthy. Worthy. Are we not made in the image and likeness of God? Of course we deserve it. Of course we're worthy. Look who we're representing, for goodness sakes. Of course. That's one of those old ideas that comes from some other belief system. It's your consciousness that establishes your ability to stay with something, is it not? It's not the psychology of, I deserve it, I'm a very nice person. No, it's a much grander place than that. There was a band up and coming, and word was starting to get around that they were really good. And the drummer started feeling insecure, like, I don't feel like I'm as good as the rest of them. And so he goes to the guitar player and says, I don't feel like I belong in this band. I don't feel like I'm good enough. He goes, you know, that's funny. I was thinking the same thing. So they went and they talked to the vocalist and said, I don't know. I don't feel that I deserve to be here. I don't feel I'm as good as you. I was feeling the same thing, he said. Well, that was Ringo, George, and Paul. Of course, John Lennon was taught self-esteem by his mother, so it didn't ever occur to him that he wasn't good enough, because he was too busy imagining a world that everybody could live in. And that's what I'm saying to you. Let's continue to imagine the world that we want to live in and make sure that we are living it. Unity is not about attending unity. It's about living and calling unity to a higher order. Thank you for listening today. Appreciate it. Thank you.